I apologize. We're on the air, so I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order, and we are in the presence of a quorum. And we have no old business. Well, I'm sorry, I just missed approval of minutes. So has everybody gotten a chance to take a look at minutes for January 24th, 2024?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to accept the minutes from Wednesday, January 24th, 2024, please.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, and now we're here for the public hearing session. And I don't do this often enough probably, but I'm going to do it tonight and just read what the Board of Adjustments is according to KRS 100.217, which is the Board of Adjustments is a quasi-judicial body and its rulings are final. Any appeals to the Board of Adjustment rulings must be filed with the Circuit Court within 30 days of a Board of Adjustment ruling. And we're here tonight for Gracam, am I pronouncing that right? Gracam Investments, thank you, LLC, 128 and 130 Morning View Road, and it's a conditional use request for short-term rental in an R3 zone. And we usually have Amanda will give an overview, and you want to do that now, and I can swear you in.
Mm-hmm.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. Thank you. Good evening, Board of Adjustment members. This particular property, I have the thumbtack on the aerial map. If you can see it, here is, I'll hover over it here. So it's a newly constructed duplex in an R3 zone, so multifamily zone, that is located on Morning View Road. So I'm going to zoom out just to give you a little perspective. Oak Street is this intersection right here. So we currently have a development going on here if you've been there recently, and then this existing but again newly constructed duplex is a R3 zone, and all notices have been sent as required.
I'm Randy O'Neill, and I represent, you'll have to pronounce it, Gracam. Trying to decipher that's like deciphering a vanity plate on a car, I think. Do you require everyone to be sworn in?
We do.
Okay.
So do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
So, as was stated, this is in an area where it's already a multifamily area, and the same LLC has multiple properties in the area. There's storage units across the street. There's multifamily units there, and so it's going to be consistent with the use of the area still. So it's not like you're going for a house that's in a residential area that you're asking for approval from. This is an area where it's going to be rentals, and so I think it would be consistent with that zoning as far as close to any other zoning that that you may have for that purpose. So we're just asking for the conditional use to use that as an Airbnb or similar rentals.
I will just remind the board that in the past we have put conditions for a 10 p.m. check-in, and just for your context as the property owner, that has come as a result of property owners just asking for respect to adjacent homes where we're not coming in late at night and those kind of things. So so that has been something that we've done in the past. 2 off-street parking spaces, which again, it is a newly constructed duplex, and I'll zoom in just a little bit. We would have required that for the construction of it, so you can see it's got some parking in the front here. And there's one vehicle there, but I believe it is wide enough for 4 vehicles. So a garage in each unit, and then parking in the front. So 2 off-street parking spaces, and that the conditional use goes with the property owner and does not transfer with title. I also have received a comment from an adjacent property owner whenever you guys are ready.
All right, go ahead.
All right, so this says Board of Adjustments, as an adjacent property owner to subject property, I ask you to deny the conditional use request for a short-term rental in a R3 zone for 128 and 130 Morning View. The duplex was built with the current zone in place. The board should act in good faith to the families that bought or rent their dwellings in a multi-family residential zone to preserve the family atmosphere of the neighborhood. While some personnel booking a short-term rental may be responsible, in general, short-term rental properties experience problems such as excessive noise, more traffic, vandalism, and local long-term residents are left with little resources to address these issues. Code violations are most often the only avenue left to homeowners. I ask that the Board of Adjustments not only consider the administrative side of this change, but also the human side of the request and evaluate this request as if the property was right next door to your residence. And this came from Tammy Ballinger at 116 Barronwood Lane.
I'm assuming that's the property to the south.
Would be to the, so this is Barronwood. Let me put some addresses. So it's the property to the rear.
All right.
If I may add briefly, if
Certainly.
that's all right. I know typically on Airbnb specifically, they require you to put, rules and that kind of thing in there, and I'm sure they can provide those if. Sure.
You'll have to be sworn in,
She
but
can-
yes,
She can
absolutely.
explain all that because there's rules and conduct procedures, and actually they will ban you from using the app, period, if you have any violations and that kind of thing, and penalize you. But Katie can explain to you a little more of the things that they have in place and the rules they have, and they live here, of course, here in town, and are there to monitor it, and if there's any issues, they can address that.
So do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? And state your name for the record.
Oh, there we go. My name is Katie Wiles, and myself as well as my husband purchased the property at 128 and 130 to build this duplex. We never had the intentions of renting it as an Airbnb. It was always built with the intention to do long-term rental. One side of it actually does have a tenant with a signed lease. The other side was supposed to be used for my daughter to be moved into. She's just not ready to go yet. So this may not even be a forever thing, but it's a temporary thing for now, and it's working. I mean, I've done it for about a month, I think, roughly, with people in and out. Our rules are my check-in is at 3 o'clock p.m. My check-out is at 11 o'clock in the morning. I don't do anything long-term as far as months and months at a time. I think the longest that I've had so far is a couple weeks. And the majority of the inquiries that I have are people coming to visit their kids at Berea College, and they're coming in for the weekend or coming in for an event. I also manage and run the property. Our family owns the property across the street, so we have those 66 units at Blakewood Apartments, so I'm down there regularly. The storage units directly across from the Airbnb, we also own and manage. I have security cameras set up at the complex, the apartment complex, as well as the storage complex, as well as the Airbnb. So, I'm fully aware of what goes on. It's a new unit, so of course I don't want it to be trashed or partiers or, anybody that's not going to respect it or the neighbors. So I guess that's it.
Two
That
questions.
does, oh, go ahead.
Sure.
The lease that's out now, how long is that for now?
It's a year, and they've already been there a year. And before I even considered renting it out for Airbnb, I talked to the neighbors and said, "Hey, do you mind, or would you care, or have any objectives with me renting this as an Airbnb?" And they said, "No, as long as as long as they're neighborly, just like all of us would want." And so far, they have been. And when I have so with Airbnb, with an app, I'm new to it, of course, but the communication that you get with these people that are renting or inquiring about renting, they provide their phone number. So a lot of times I will text them back or message them back and say, well, we have a tenant next door, because a lot of people don't know what they're even getting. They don't know if they're getting a apartment complex, if they're getting a room in a house, if they're getting a whole house, what they're even getting. So there's lots of questions that they ask before they even come, and one of them I make sure that they know that it is a duplex, and I do have tenants next door that are permanent, or there for at least a year. So everybody's aware of that before they even book it.
How many bedrooms?
2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms.
Square feet?
Oh, I don't
couldn't
know.
find that any place in here.
I don't even know.
It's half and half? Probably get a estimate real quick.
Yeah. I want to say it's probably 12, maybe 1,200. That's just a guess. I would live there. It's really nice.
So I'd say taking out the garages, probably 12 to 1,300 apiece.
Amanda, remind me, is there any potential there's not a potential to lose your ability for a conditional use if you don't exercise it for a certain length of time?
I would have to look up the statute. I believe it is 1 year. Melissa, do you recall that? I
I'm
know we
not
just
sure.
talked about that not too long ago.
It's 1 year, but in order for that to be revoked, they would have to be brought back before the Board of Adjustments
right.
to actually revoke it.
Yep,
If it changed owners, of course, that would
Yeah,
Right.
yes.
That's the conditional use, yes.
I'm sure Briz is. like
It is.
another, 6.
That would make sense.
Yeah, that's a condition that we put on there, is that it goes with the property owner.
I'm just bringing that up, as we get more, and then, this concern some neighborhood have about too many in one location, but if somebody's not exercising it because they're doing long-term rental, it'd be nice to sort of keep a handle on that,
That's what I was gonna ask.
So from a GIS perspective, we actually are mapping these. The reason that, it's for a couple reasons. One is to just for us as staff and for us to be able to communicate that to you guys, are we getting this, where are they located, right? So we're mapping those, and but it also helps with the tracking of business licenses and other city functions, and even from a perspective of when they are legal, conforming, have been approved through the Board of Adjustments. The tourism department will often advertise in things that they put out for them. So there's lots of reasons that we track them. But that is something that we are doing, is kind of keeping track. And I don't know of any, didn't find any today on Morning View.
Didn't we approve one at the very end at the 100 block at one time?
Oh, we did?
We have
I must have
4.
missed that one.
We have 4
Oh,
units.
that's right. That's
Yeah,
that
but-
apartment.
At the end
It's
of
an
Morning View.
apartment. That's
Yeah.
right. That's why I missed that one. It wasn't a house.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there's several on Jefferson Street as well.
So I'm glad that we're tracking those with the GIS folks, because it's come up time and time and time again, is what is the saturation of a neighborhood, and when does it not become a neighborhood, and when does it just become something totally different than the neighborhood? So there are 4 down at the end, right, the apartments, and then there would be these 2, well, 1 for sure, but then perhaps 2. And then what's the construction directly behind this? Is that, I'm assuming that's apartments or something?
Townhomes.
Townhomes.
So that's R3 as well.
So it's R3 zoning. They'll be constructed as townhomes, which essentially are single-family dwellings.
Did you already have in your rules, when they do the Airbnb, how many people what's your max on people?
I'm glad you asked that. I do. And I don't allow gatherings. There's several, they make it very easy. Airbnb makes it very easy to list your property. And so they have check marks and they have everything that you allow and everything that you don't want. I don't allow any gatherings or parties or anything of that sort. So you can't just have somebody rent it just so that they can throw a, family reunion and have 27 cars parked out front. We don't allow that, and it's on there when you apply for it.
That goes back to the reason I asked you about the square footage, because it's one person for every 200 feet, right? Be a max of 6 people?
I don't even allow 6 people. I allow 4 people. There's 2 beds,
Okay.
unless there's a child or something. But as far as adults, I prefer 4 adults at max, just because of the wear and tear on the furniture and everything else in it.
Is there on-street parking, just out of curiosity? I mean, I know we have the capacity for enough off-street, but there's no on-street parking on Morning View, is there? It's very tight.
It's very tight.
There is. So I know, I can't answer that 100%, but I do know for us, we allow, if there's an extra or something, we've had somebody inquire hauling a U-Haul. So the storage units across the street, I allow them to pull in and park there for the night if there's something that won't fit in the driveway. I do know up towards the top of the street at Jefferson, I'm not sure of the address, but there are several cars that park on the street. Whether or not they're supposed to, I don't know, but they do it daily.
I think it's safe to say, though, Katie, correct me if I'm wrong, that their goal is they don't want multiple people, big groups of people there or whatever. They
Right.
They want to, it's a new property and they want to
Right.
make sure that it's well maintained and
Right.
preserved. And
Right.
so if there's some restriction of cars or whatever that needs to be part of it, that
Sure.
shouldn't be an issue. But,
Right. Right.
they have ample parking for the number of bedrooms there.
Any other questions for me before I sit down?
How happy is the leasee?
They're fine. Actually, their lease is up and they're wanting to renew. It has, in between that, the firewall. So it's so thick you can't hear anything, which is fantastic.
All right, any more discussion? Any further questions?
I would like to make a motion at this time to approve the conditional use permit for 128 and 130 Morning View Drive in Bray, Kentucky, located in R3 zone. The conditional use permit will stay with the owner upon sale. 10 p.m. check-in time, of course, that's a little bit different than what she had. She had 3 p.m., but max at 10 p.m. There are 4 off-street parking spots. I went down and looked at it today. There's 2 for each and then 1 in the garage. And according to Ms. Wiles, the max would be 4 people, but we could actually allow 6.
Sure.
But that's your choice.
Clarify, do you mean 10 a.m.?
She's got 3 p.m. and check-in time and 11 a.m. check-out, but they can go with 10 p.m. max on the check-in time, because it's late.
Okay, okay.
That way it's
I
not the
understand.
Yeah, I probably didn't clarify that well. But your times are better than ours.
Yeah.
Okay, motion has been made. Any discussion on the motion? Or a second?
Second.
Second, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries for a conditional use request for a short-term rental in an R3 zone at 128 and 130 Morning View Road, and with some conditions. No later than 10 p.m. check-in, and 2 off-street parking spaces for each unit. And the conditional use will is only maintained for the existing property owner. think I got everything. Well, thank you very much. Yep.
Absolutely, thank you.
And it's just interesting to note that, you know, a number of conditional uses for Airbnbs, we certainly have gotten real concerns about care and noise and disruption of the neighborhood. But I have yet to hear back from, you know, anybody that's been affected adversely with complaints. You know, we are certainly a board that's open to anybody showing up that has had experience of issues with Airbnbs nearby, and we would be a lending ear. And if that is an issue, please come and speak your mind. Thank you.
I will, just before we adjourn, let you know that we have had an application for a hearing next month. So if you would plan to attend, that meeting will be on March 27th. And we understand you've already called out.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm not then. I'm trying to think.
Okay.
Yeah, it should be March 27th. Yeah. I'll probably be.
You might show?
Yeah,
Okay.
might be.
All right.
Depending on how good it is.
Well, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.